Hi everyone. Today I am doing a kind of a process with me again, not a tutorial. I'm not an expert on any of this, but this is kind of the process that I do right now to create my signatures. I'm creating a signature for this book. This is the cover that I have made. This is for my son-in-law, who is a fireman. And I wanted to do kind of a vintage fireman thing. And so this is Tim Holtz wallpaper, and this is Tim Holtz paper, and this was just a picture I was able to find on the internet. And I did a little bit of stitching around it and glued it all together. And this is now ready for its signatures. This is going to just be the process of kind of what I do. So I always start out with my coffee dyed paper. And the way I do my coffee dyed paper is that I actually have tried a whole lot of different ways. I've tried baking it in the oven. I've tried just letting it air dry. I've actually never tried using a hairdryer. But I'm really lazy and don't want to spend all day putting stuff in the oven. So this is simply my coffee dyed paper. And you can see some of it comes out darker because it oxidizes. These were some of my top pages. And then these were some of the pages that were underneath. I just stack it a couple of layers high on my dining room table with plastic over the dining room table. Just let it dry. And that's actually how I did most of these papers you'll see here. So I always start with my, coffee dyed paper. That's a good place to start. And then I coffee dye a variety of other things as well. I do ledger paper. So I have lots of coffee dyed ledger paper. Somebody gave me a bunch of these kinds of books, and what was really nice was I was able to just take them apart. So these are a little bit smaller, and then I have a set of planner pages that are a little bit bigger. And you can see that they're all different colors. I like to vary the sizes of my pages to help keep them interesting. Last but not least, if you cannot hear it already, my favorite thing to put in, this is just tracing paper that I have coffee dyed. I really love the way it pulls out different colors and you get all these different textures, and I love the sound of this, if you didn't already know that about me. So I have that, and then I have some extra things. So these are actually vintage ephemera pieces that I got from Monahan's Paper. You can find her on Etsy. They're actually French. So these are some extra pieces I can throw in. This is a Maidenform bra. It said I dreamed I was a fireman in my Maidenform bra. So this was an old vintage ad from a magazine probably that I simply got off of the internet as well and printed it onto this sheet of paper. So this I plan to put in there. Then I have, this is a variety of printables. So I don't have a lot of books that I can pull out and do things with, but Nick the Booksmith, who is on Etsy, Instagram, and YouTube, she has her own YouTube channel, created a bunch of printables that have a white background so you can print them onto your coffee dyed paper. And that's what I've done here. So I took a bunch of them. This looks like a book out of a book about Poe. So that's kind of a book page from Romeo and Juliet. And this is a love letter. So it prints out this way, and I cut it in half. So this looks like a love letter, and this is for my son-in-law, so I think I'm going to include this, but I probably won't actually put it in a signature. This will be some ephemera that I will tuck in somewhere in the book. The plan right now is I'm going to do 5 signatures of 6 pages each. One of my personal things is I like to have the middle part of the signature generally be a big page like this. 2 reasons why. One, I like it to be blank in the middle. It's easier because that's the page that's going to be completely open and appear to be all one page. The other thing is from time to time, I will take this page and turn it into an envelope that things can be stored in. those are kind of the reasons why I like to do these as your middle page. What I'm simply going to do, I'm going to move this aside for now. And I've got all my different piles. One of the things I've learned is that if you spend too much time thinking about what you're going to put in your signatures, and I just fold everything in half. I've tried using a scoreboard, but I find that especially coffee dyed papers are never consistently the same size because they've either shrunk or wrinkled or something like that. I mean, you can really see that a lot of these are really wrinkled and bent. I just now fold everything in half. So this will be our first signature. That's the center. And I'm simply going to start grabbing a couple of different pages. I like to vary my pages. The other thing I really like to do is when I turn a page that's normally vertical like this, horizontal, I want it so that the top is on the right-hand side. That's just my own personal thing. I like to see pages facing that direction so that they are it just to me makes more sense. But you are more than welcome to put book pages and things of that nature in any way you want. Oh, I almost forgot. I have some cardstock in here as well that I would like to use in this. But I don't like, sometimes I will wrap my signatures in a specific kind of page like a cardstock or maybe a printed paper. This time I'm not. This time I'm just totally going random. I would like to have at least a few pieces of paper that are this solid color in here, but I think I'm going to vary a size here. So this may be my last page. Let's do, we've got 1, 2, let's do a piece of cardstock. Oh, nope, I want to do it this way. And what I may do with these pieces of cardstock before I sew in my signatures is to go back and sew some pockets on these so that they are, and it looks like I may need to trim these down just a little bit because they're 12 by 12, so I need to cut a ½ inch off of each side. I haven't done that yet. Because this is going to be my first signature, I know I want to stop with this page on the outside. So we're up to 1, 2, 3. Let's do 4. Actually, let's do this. 4. 5, 6. We're just going to go with this for right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, nope, I need one more. So I'm going to pull this apart. A lot of times I do like to run 2 of these kinds of pages together, but because this is, I'm just kind of mixing, so I try not to think too hard about all of this. And I like to see a variety of different pages. So there's my first signature. We have 1. Now, for the next signature, I actually think I'm going to break with my center page tradition, and we're going to make one of these the center of the next signature. And I want to do 2 of these back to back. So I'm going to do 2 of these. I want to get one of these dark ones too. I like to mix up the colors, so this is a much darker piece. This keeps it interesting and it doesn't end up all looking the same. Now we've got 1, 2, 3. Let's do, I'm going to actually use one of these. So I actually have an old dictionary. It's from the 1930s. It was also an office book that had directions on how to do all kinds of things. So this would be the proper way to send telegraph, cable, and radio messages. Again, I like to have them point this direction. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more. Let's do one of this size. Oop, that's a torn one. I think I'm not going to use that one right now. But I'll save it because you never know. I might find a good place to use bits and pieces of it. 4, then one more of this kind of paper, just the coffee dyed paper. Isn't that pretty? So what you can see are the outlines of all the different pages that got laid over it. And then this was exposed to the air and dried at a different rate. So this part oxidized and got darker, and this stayed lighter. So it's really pretty when it looks like that, I think. All right, so that is signature number 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. All right, that's 2. Let's do one more, and this time I want to do these kinds of pages on the outside. Let me see. Ooh, here's a pretty one. This time I want to do these 2 pages on the outside of the signature. So I'm actually going to start with these 2 pages like this, because I think that always looks kind of cool. So I've got those 2 pages, and I know I want to use maybe another piece of cardstock in the middle. Let's use this one. This one's got all these guys, and it's kind of more vintagey looking, but I want to fold it right there, and I can trim this up later, because that seemed like a good place. We had kind of a seam there. So we have these 2 pictures, and it looks like I'll be trimming that up, and that's okay. But I need to now throw a couple of pages of this regular paper in here. Gonna throw that one in the middle, and we'll throw this piece of cardstock next. Then I need another piece of paper. And as you can see, I just keep varying maybe the sizes and numbers of pages. I think this looks really cute though, like this. So now you've got these pages. And so that is what I will continue doing for the last 2 signatures. And that's just an idea. So start out, this is how I do it. You lay out all your different piles of stuff. Just start pulling from the piles. Don't take too long to think about it. Overthinking can be a really horrible thing to do, and I can almost guarantee you I will probably go back and change some of the things in the 3 signatures I've already put together. So I encourage you to, one of the best pieces of advice I had was, if you have to make a decision, set a timer. If you're going to put together a signature like this, set a timer for 5 minutes and just make decisions real quickly, put it together. Do you like how it feels? Do you like how it flips open? And at the 5-minute mark, boom, you're done. Set it aside and keep going. Otherwise, I know that I personally can get just stuck on, do I use this page or this page or this page or this page or this page? And I can spend hours putting together just a single signature of 6 pages. We don't want that at all. So I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial / process video on how I put together my signatures. And I hope I encourage you to craft and make something beautiful today.